faster than we had been drilling for the past few days. We hoped to achieve the impossible, yet when we talked it over, it seemed quite simple. Too simple. The fact is, by the time we would have slipped into the boar's quarters, we would be discovered. He is a light sleeper, after all. Besides, even for a knight of his caliber, Eric would have dozens of guards surrounding his quarters. Quiet, I told myself. He may be able to defeat any man in a trial of strength, but the poisoned blade may be more than he can handle. We dismounted swiftly, letting our horses graze in the lush fields after tying them to a nearby fence post. It was a beautiful sight, the sun setting behind our 3 horses. The sharp eye of one of my companions, Louis, called a slight fray in the lead that we used to fasten the horses down. If all went well, we would be needing them again. Louis gestured towards John, who quickly replaced the rope. My companions glided over the outer walls with ease, throwing a rope down, as they knew I was not the strongest of climbers. The wall was roughly 8 meters high, so it was a marvel I didn't lose my footing. We began to prepare for our descent, when we were spotted by a guard, a younger man by the looks of things, roughly 22 years of age, with a short brown beard. He slowly stepped backwards and turned, running towards the gatehouse to sound the alarm. Louis unslung his bow and notched an arrow, but he was too late. The guard had reached the gatehouse. As the young man attempted to unlock the door, his trembling hands dropped the keys, providing Louis enough time to get closer so he could fire his arrow with much greater accuracy. The projectile soared through the air like a hawk chasing a spray, before crashing into its target. The arrow stuck into the wall, carrying the guard's long hat with it. The shot was a tad high. The guard, rushing as fast as he could, finally unlocked the gate. He clutched the doorknob. His quivering, sweaty palm twisted the door open. As he began to apply pressure to the door, a knife formed out of the darkness, stabbing the man through the back. The full form of John materialized out of the air, his cloak allowing him to blend in perfectly with the shadowy landscape. "I didn't know you were that bad of a shot, Louis," he jeered. The words hit Louis like a needle to the surface of the balloon, causing him to blurt out in anger and announcing our presence to the world. "We need to get out of here," I declared. After all, a scream that loud would have this place crawling with guards any moment. Swiftly, we descended down the staircase of the tower, which the guard had so kindly unlocked for us. We approached the inner wall, noticing the difference in height. "Now they expect us to climb a 12-foot wall, eh?" Louis complained as he sized up the wall. "Louis, John, they don't expect us to be here at all." We began to scale the wall, and we soon found that it was a little easier to grip than the outer fortifications were. After approaching the surface, we caught sight of the village below, and the large building in the middle of it all. "That must be the keep," Louis whispered to us, attempting to avoid any further distraction. John gestured at the staircase down the wall, probably placed there for easy access, for if the defenses needed to be manned in times of battle, one could swiftly move squads up and down the exterior stairwells. Yet, we carried ourselves down the stairs, thankful that we didn't have to do any more climbing. Yet, we approached the central keep. I noticed many familiar sights around the village. The old bakery, the blacksmith, and the market were all emblazoned with the symbol of the boar. That tyrant knight had practically enslaved his people and forced them to do his bidding, allowing them life only if they paid huge sums of gold and goods to him. He exploited the poor. He had to be dealt with. We approached the menacing keep. To a commoner, it seemed to offer a sort of protection, to make them feel safe. As for freedom fighters like us, it inspires fear and memories of what this life was like in the town before Eric the Boar captured it. The town had been quite prosperous, but as for the king, he was sickly and frail. After his death, he left no legitimate heir to the throne, no direct monarch to rule in his stead. A tourney was held in which all were welcome to attend. Knights, nobles, and warriors all competed for the throne. I was just a boy then. I was rooting for the Knight of the Boar, too. He came from the people. He gave wonderful speeches. He promised that the unjust laws that had been plaguing the kingdom for centuries would be amended if he won. He had won the heart of the people, and soon he had won the kingdom. They say no mortal man could defeat him in battle. He ruled for a fairly short while, until one day he snapped. Perhaps the power of ruling overcame him. Perhaps it was the strength that drove him mad. Yes, the undefeated strength. Eric could literally take on 4 strong men on his own. That's why we have to kill him quickly, by cover of night. We must be swift, silent, and deadly. We are freedom fighters, I tell myself. We have every right to fight, to stand up, to protect our own loved ones from this tyrant, this false monarch, this corrupt sovereign. We eventually found our way up onto the roof of the keep. The view there is amazing. I wish we had just a few moments for which we could admire the beauty of the town, because it's awesome. Alas, we knew what we must do. We were here for a purpose. We must liberate the town from this tyrant. We'd already been outcast for years, John, Louis, and I. We had been branded as outlaws, as cutthroats, as bandits. The people didn't know we were more than that. We were mere criminals. Now we would be their saviors. We knew we had to kill Eric. We slipped in through the window on the main corridor, 7th floor. We all remember the layout pretty clearly. John and Louis spent nights on end studying a few maps that I had found, searching for the perfect plan. We slipped past the kitchen and found our way up a set of staircases. We traveled swiftly down the comfortable carpet floors until we found a room with a doorway emblazoned with the image of a golden boar. There were two guards stationed outside it, wearing boar hide armor of the quality only worn by Eric's most elite forces. Alas, it doesn't matter how elite one is when you're asleep. Louis, eager to prove himself, offered to dispatch the guard. We denied him, and told him that there was no need for the deaths of any more innocents, no matter how brainwashed they are. That's not why we came here. Look, Louis, I'm going to have to be the one to plant the dagger in the back of the boar knight, that is. It's nothing personal. He just has gone on with this corrupt reign for too long. I feel responsible for not stopping it sooner. Both my companions nodded in agreement. We stepped into the room. Louis is exceptional at picking locks. We silently crawled next to the bed of the boar knight. You can do this, I told myself. He is not awake. He won't wake up. He must pay for his crimes. I withdrew my dagger from my belt and raised it into the air. I gestured to my friends to step back as I was to deal the final killing blow. I prepared to strike. 3, 2, 1. I lowered my blade. I could not bring myself to kill my own brother.